Hey, it's Ben, and I'm back with a long overdue episode of the Communicators. And I really apologize that it has taken so long, almost a month, maybe more, since I updated this series. But there has been so many things going on. Exciting things, a lot of stuff in the world too. I had in my mind that I was going to talk to you about everything we saw in April from uh, 80-degree weather at the beginning of April where I got sunburned at a track meet to pouring down nonstop rain where I just basically got blasted for 6 hours at a track meet last Friday. But there has been a lot of exciting things going on at work too. I've been on the road giving some keynotes, which may or may not come up later, just in terms of in regards to what I'm seeing, which is today's topic, which we'll get to in a second. But also so many things going on in the world continuously because we're I think we're over $5 a gallon for gas here in Northeast Ohio, which is crazy. It took me uh, a little while to get out of the shock of paying $85 to fill up my Traverse. So there's that going on. And we're in the middle of the NBA playoffs, which is where I'll start today as one of my quick three things because they're not all negative, just the first one, okay? This first one, but can we just stop with the fucking streaming options because I shouldn't need like some type of secret map to figure out what channel the Cavs are playing on. And yes, I know there are some nights you don't want to watch the Cavs. They have been absolutely frustrating. I don't understand why we continue to stick to a game plan where we love to turn the ball over. We are giving up so many points on turnovers, and we shoot 8% from three, and the solution is to keep shooting more threes instead of adjusting. But here we are tied at two in round two, so, whatever. But that should be the most stressful part of the night. But it's not. It's finding out which of the 9 streaming services this is on, and you have watered down talent across the announcers, the in-game broadcasters and reporters. It's just not good. It's not the product on the court is not being treated the way it should in the sense of the product being put in front of us. So that's my first thing. My second thing is I went and saw Devil Wears Prada 2 over the weekend. It was so good. I'm not going to give any spoilers, so don't worry, stop screaming. No spoilers. But I just have to say, I don't know how they did this, where they just seamlessly and perfectly picked up 20 years later and they made it look so easy for all those movie franchises that have not done so well with the sequels. But while we were there, the previews were all sequels. So it was Practical Magic 2. I didn't know we needed that. It was the latest Meet the Parents installation, which kind of looks interesting, I have to say, but still a lot of very similar things. So we'll see. And then Toy Story 5, which I'm not falling for the same trick, Tim Allen and Tom Hanks, where you're like all teary eyed and done, and then you roll out another one. Are we supposed to forget 4? So we just forget 4 because that was terrible and just move on to 5. Maybe we'll do that. But yeah, all sequels. So maybe that's a thing. Maybe we're just running out of ideas. I don't know, but neither here nor there. But go see Devil Wears Prada 2, especially if you love the first one. I'm pretty sure you will have absolutely zero issues enjoying and taking in the second one. The third thing is So over the weekend, my daughter's home from school. In She finished her second year at Bowling Green, which is great because sometimes at night, my youngest daughter, she's in track and it's crazy, and she's not always in the mood to settle in and watch a movie. My wife's a teacher, and if you're a teacher, during the school year, you're not wanting to be up very late, especially when there's so many other things going on. So my older daughter being home and having time is great for me because we can watch movies and pick up. She's a big movie fan like I am, and there are still as much as work as I've done to get her to see movies that are worth her time. And I feel like it's my responsibility as her dad to get her to see all these or as many of these as I can before she's out into the world officially. Is to pick that list back up. And on the list this time was Swingers, which is a fantastic movie. But before we watched Swingers, we stumbled across Go, which I also love Go, same director as Swingers. So we watched Go first. And she absolutely loved it, called it I think she said the movie's fire, which, that means cool. Don't act like, oh, we're too old for this. You know what fire means. And Swingers was next, which she loved as well, but she said she liked Go better because Swingers is more of a guy movie, which I can't disagree with her on some of that. But it reminded me just how awesome Swingers is for a lot of reasons. But when you watch it, no cell phones. There's all these crazy things happening, and it's just despite not having cell phones and having to show up places and try to find your way to a party and do all these things, it just seems so much more peaceful. And maybe that does make me sound old, but what a snapshot of a different time, and just how and really still felt very new despite not having cell phones in it. And I think that's a movie that for a couple of reasons has aged well, for a couple of reasons maybe hasn't aged as well. But that part of it, just capturing the moment in time of a peaceful approach to a crazy night, which, if that makes any sense, but you know what I mean if you've seen it. So those are my three. I don't really have a number today. It's a little more of a somber conversation today on the Communicators for one big reason, because I can't turn on the TV. I can't look at podcasts. I can't read articles. I can't, I do all these things for the newsletters and stuff without hearing just something new about AI. And that's part me because I have the AI newsletter and everything. But that's really where we are right now, where AI is going to do all of these things. And a lot of it is doing a lot of the things we said it was going to do, from job disruption to performance disruption to everybody's like, well, we're not seeing a lot of layoffs, but we are seeing companies stop hiring. So the job market is being disrupted. And I can make the case for a lot of these things. And people that are like, well, here we go, it's the bubble or it's a fad or whatever. Like, I don't even have any interest in reading your stuff. To be completely dismissive of this technology that it's just going to pass or not have a major impact is silly. Whether you like it or not, even if it does half of the things that people think it's going to do, it is worth your time. And so that's the part that's not the issue for this, what we're talking about today, but I can't get my head around that because I just don't understand somebody's mentality for that. But what I do want to talk about as it pertains to us as the communicators is that all of those stories are tied to this. Well, can you believe that? Do you really think that? Would that happen? As it pertains to, like, I don't know, we're going to outsource thinking. We're going to be dumber as a result of AI. We're going to lose complete layers of management in companies. And, will we really do that? And, I don't really want to debate that. I never really want to debate that because that's not the point. The point is, if it's going to do something like that, we need to think about how we would pivot or really think about adopting that so our organizations, our careers, our professions, whatever you want to say, is able to transform with it and we're not left behind. And the thing that always goes through my head, and this is this is the topic today is, are we just kind of bound to accept that these things are going to happen? And the answer from me, my opinion, is yes, they are. When somebody's like, well, can you think somebody would actually do that? Or would somebody actually just outsource their writing? Or yes, I do think that, because we are lazy. And that's the bottom line. That's really the bottom line when you think about all of these things happening. We don't even bother to check sources in news links that are shared or not shared or cited on social media right now, or through 2, 3, 4 election cycles. We're going to think that we're going to source LLMs and validate if those are telling the truth or are accurate. And then we sit here and think, well, AI is not really going to disrupt this. It's not really going to disrupt journalism. It's not really going to disrupt creativity. It's not really going to disrupt software. It's not really, one podcast I listened to talked about when AI is doing reputation management. What would happen if AI is giving inaccurate information? That's a real crisis that you'd have on your hands. And boy, would that ever happen? Of course, yeah, it will happen, because the people are moving fast and pulling information. And maybe lazy is too harsh of a word, but the thing is, human nature takes over, and it's going to accept that. And I'll give you an example of that. So you always hear the term, especially in my business, you can have it good, you can have it fast, you can have it cheap, but you can only pick one, and sometimes maybe two, but you never are going to get all three. I don't know what goes in that when it comes down to it, but the joke is kind of like, sometimes good is the one that goes, because people want it fast and they want it cheap, and that will win out a lot of times. So there's this study that was done by Harvard, and I'm not going to source all the researchers. It was on a HBR podcast, IdeaCast, I listened to, and they were talking about the jagged frontier, which has been used a lot in the sense of, that we're boldly pushing forward and growing, but it's jagged because, all the ways that we can move forward, there's always these risks and dangers and ways that we can have some type of, cuts or bruises along the way as we're going as we're moving to this frontier. And one of the one of the reports sourced in that study and in that research was mainly with young professionals. They were finding that AI was allowing them to do work 12% faster, 25% more, but 19% of that work was wrong. But they kept doing it. And that study has been sourced and updated and talked about more, and it's anywhere now between 20 and 40% of what they're getting back is wrong. So from a communicator standpoint, when you think about the fact that maybe we're already falling prey to human nature and lazy and quick and just want to get something out there and done, and it is wrong. I mean, there's been lots of things. We used to get emails still, to whom it may concern, or dear insert name here, or dear field. Now you're seeing articles or emails that are direct cut and paste from the LLM, where it's like, I've done what you've asked, blah, 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 and then the body content, they're just copying the whole thing and dropping it in. Yeah. I mean, let's not forget when, I think it was Copilot was running, or maybe, it was Copilot running their suite. They were using the fact that somebody needed Copilot to write an email about how angry they were that people were eating their yogurt, or that they did the research or looked at the report that they didn't, and hurry up and send it off to their boss just so their boss could say it was great, while this person who was working hard and doing it is annoyed. Do you think that that's far off from reality? So now we're supposed to think that AI is not going to do those things when it's been promoted as potentially doing those things. I'm not saying AI is good or bad. I have said many times, it doesn't matter if I like it or not. It matters if I understand how to use it for myself and for our clients and for our organization. But we also have to understand what it's going to do in a sense of how we communicate, and the amount of false information that's out there, and how we look at these things, and how we can maybe be that gatekeeper. I mean, we in communications field, we're supposed to be a gatekeeper to some extent, but we're talking on the communicators, we talk personal and professional from the standpoint of all the different ways that we can help uplift, bring value to our friend circles, be a better listener, bring people together, be a connector. And when you have this massive amount of disruption and this, I'll say, complacency just in terms of accepting it, that makes our jobs and our roles a lot harder. So I've rambled, gone on, and it's just probably because, from a communication standpoint, it's a hard enough thing to do already, and now we're being inundated with so much inaccurate information. I mean, I think the last report was since 2022, 70% of the new websites that are out there are AI generated. So we're outsourcing a lot of things, but we're also outsourcing our trust. And I don't want to see that happen. I want to be vigilant. I want to be mindful of what's out there and what our clients are putting out there and what we're putting out there and what I'm saying and what people are saying on social, what my kids are being exposed to that may or may not be right, and helping them understand that. So there's just a lot when it comes to that. I think that we need to take into consideration, but the piece that we have to really stay focused on is what's our role as the communicators. What do we do? What part do we play in that? And that may be slowing people down, reminding them to check their facts, asking the question of where did you get that stat? Are you sure about that? Can we look it up? Can we check it? Well, even looking it up, where did that come from? Because now, simply looking it up, Googling it, doesn't mean it's right, because a lot of Google is pulled from AI. And that because you see the AI overviews and it's written to do that. So we have to be mindful even of that. So with that, I'll wrap up that piece of it because, like I said, it's a little more somber topic, but we have our work cut out for us here in terms of being the communicators and being the real gatekeepers. And what I'll say is trying to keep things on the up and up in our friend circles, our professional circles, and just how we interact with people. So, from a red pen standpoint, I was debating on whether I should get into this, but I will. So my red pen is just something I hate every time. It's political ads, and I know it's been said and done, and I know people have talked about it so many times. But I think it's important when you are looking at, we just talked about inaccuracy and are we at the point now where these are even effective? Maybe they are because people's attention spans and what they are willing to believe and not believe, but it needs to be said. I mean, this is just too much. These ads are too much. The amount and the volume and the amount of times they're on. I just have to take a red pen to all of it. So there you go. We will be back. I will not wait more than a month next time for the next episode. But if you want to talk, if you want to compare notes on what you're seeing and how difficult it is to truly communicate today, it's something that I'm passionate about, and I know a lot of people are passionate about, and just staying and supporting each other in the sense of, we need to make sure that we're the ones that are keeping communication clean. So thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate it. We'll talk more later.